Good morning, dear learners. Welcome to teaching learning session of sociology. In today's session, we'll discuss about Emile Durkheim. In our last lecture, we discussed about Karl Marx, one of the prominent sociologists, and Emile Durkheim is even one of the very important sociologists. Emile Durkheim was a French sociologist. Auguste Comte and Emile Durkheim are known for their contribution in providing credibility to sociology. They played a very important role in establishing sociology as an independent academic discipline. It is because of the efforts of Emile Durkheim that sociology has been established as an independent academic discipline. According to Durkheim, it is also possible to develop a scientific study of society. Until Durkheim, people thought that it is not possible to study this society in a scientific way. But it was the Durkheim, according to him, that he said that it is possible to study the society in a scientific way. We can study the society in a scientific way. Before discussing all these things, how we can study society in a scientific way, let's have a look on the biographical sketch of Emile Durkheim. Emile Durkheim was born on 15th of April 1858 in a small town of France. He grew up in a Jewish family and his father was a spiritual leader and religious teacher of Jewish community. So he belonged to the Jew community. He grew up in a family with focus on morality and discipline. Later on, he gave up Judaism and Christianity. He was of the opinion that these religions cannot provide answer to the problem of the modern world. He retained an interest in the intellectual investigation of religion and morality throughout his academic career. However, he has given up religion, but again, he retained his interest in the intellectual investigation of the religion and morality. For higher education, Durkheim joined École Normale Supérieure, the most distinguished college in France in 1879. He was initially interested in psychology and philosophy. In his third year, he decided to study sociology, which, according to him, was more rational, scientific, and practical in understanding the philosophical questions. So he started with psychology and philosophy. Then he gave up psychology and philosophy, and in his third year, he took sociology as a subject because, according to him, sociology is more rational, it is more scientific, and give a practical understanding of a philosophical questions. Durkheim was influenced by neo-Kantian scholars like Renoir and the Botrox. Botrock's thinking influenced Durkheim. You will see the influence of Botrox in Durkheim's writing. Botrox held that the subject matter of each discipline should be distinct. That the subject matter of each discipline should be different. That the subject matter of philosophy should be different from the subject matter of sociology, should be different from the subject matter of psychology. And as Durkheim was influenced by Botox, and he took up this that the subject matter of sociology should be different from others' subject matter. Durkheim was influenced by the commitment to Renoir's commitment to the rationalism, scientific study of morality, and secular education. Durkheim was also influenced by an historian who advocated the scientific method and laid stress on the importance of religion in social life. From 1882 to 1887, Durkheim taught philosophy in a state-run secondary school near Paris. Now, after completing his studies, now he took up a job as uh, a teacher in a state-run secondary school near Paris. Uh, there he worked from 1882 to 1887. By this time, he has decided on a topic of his doctoral thesis, the relation between individualism and the socialism. The topic of his PhD thesis, was the relation between the individualism and the socialism, and we will see that he used his studies in his writings, that is between relation between the individualism and rationalism. He later focused on the relation between individual and society. See, his topic was the relation between individualism and socialism, and he later on he focused on the relation between individual and society. What is the relation between individual and society? Who is important? Whether an individual is important or society is important? Montesquieu was a French political scientist, and he tried to explain different types of states through other facts. He was a premier political thinker who wanted to introduce scientific comparative approach to the study of social and political institutions. Durkheim considered him to be one of the forerunners of a sociology. So, according to Durkheim, the Montesquieu is the one of the forerunner of the sociology. He was a political Montesquieu was a political thinker, and he wanted to introduce this scientific and comparative approach to the study of society or social or political institutions, right? So as we know, as we discussed, that Durkheim thought it is possible to study the society scientifically. The scientific study of the society is possible, and he was impressed with the Montesquieu was of the same opinion that society and political institutions, social and political institution, can be studied through in a scientific way or in a rational way. Finally, he finalized his topic to the relation between individual personality and social solidarity. So the final topic was the individual personality and social solidarity. What is the relation between the individual personality and the social solidarity? What role an individual personality plays in social solidarity? He had completed the first draft of his dissertation in 1886, and the idea subsumed in it were incorporated in his first book, The Division of Labor in Society. So, his first book, The Division of Labor in Society, is actually his ideas which he has presented in his dissertation, right? That is the individual personality and social solidarity. So he had completed his first draft of his dissertation in 1886, and the ideas of his first draft was subsumed in it, were incorporated in his first book, The Division of Labor in the Society. And this is one of the very important books. We'll discuss about the division of labor later on in detail. In England, Adam Smith, an economist, had written a century earlier a path-breaking book, The Wealth of Nation, in 1776, which provided the theory of division of labor. So he took the idea of division of labor from the book The Wealth of Nation, written by Adam Smith in 1776. It helped in increasing production, efficiency, and wealth. The revolutionary idea, division of labor, was given a social meaning by Durkheim. Right? Division of labor, people thought about the division of labor, but this revolutionary idea, that is division of labor, has been given a social meaning by the Durkheim for the first time, who wrote about the functions, causes, an abnormal form of division of labor, not in economic but in the social fields in society itself. So he extensively wrote about the division of labor, extensively worked upon the topic, that he wrote about the functions of division of labor, the causes of division of labor, the abnormal. He also discussed the abnormal form of division of labor and impact of division of labor not on the economy but in the social field and the society itself. Why it is important? Then the Kim explained the method of this study in the rule of sociological method. So how he in his book the rules of sociological methods, the Kim explained the method of this study, how he conducted this study, that is the labor of division of labor, how he conducted this study, what rules he applied. So he wrote a book, that is the rule of sociological method, in which he explained what all methods should be applied to conduct the studies, sociological studies. In this book, he defined the nature of social facts, laid down the rules for their observation, recognition of normal and pathological for explanation of the social fact. So he explained the norms, he explained what is the social fact, the nature of social fact. He laid down the rules of observation, what to observe, how to observe, and recognition of normal and the pathological forms for explanation of social facts. The Kim wrote a work on suicide. He wanted to show its social aspects and tried to explain the social condition under which suicide rates goes up. Then his another book is Suicide, in which he tried to explain the various types of the suicide and how society is responsible for the suicide. What are all are the social conditions under which suicide rate goes up. So his three books, that is Division of Labor, the Rule of Sociological Methods, and Suicide, they are very important. In Suicide, he identified the three type of suicides and said that each type had a different causes. He tried to find out what are the causes of the suicide, and he categorized suicide into three types. In 1887, Durkheim began his career as a professor in University of Bordeaux. He published his first book, The Division of Labor in Society, in 1893. Other books that he published in Bordeaux were The Rule of Sociological Method in 1895 and Suicide in 1897. Division of Labor, he explained the values, the role of the division of labor in the society and impact of division of labor in the society. In Rule of Sociological Method, he explained the methods, how to conduct these sociological studies, and in Suicide he tried to explain the types of the suicide and the various factors which are responsible for suicide, and which because of those reasons why the suicide grows up, right? Emile in 1898, Emile Durkheim founded one of first sociological journals in world called Le Sociologico. Okay. Social context for emergence of sociology in Europe. How sociology has been emerged in the Europe? What is the sociological context for the emergence of sociology? The emergence of sociology as a scientific discipline can be traced to that period of European history. There was a tremendous social, political, and economical changes as embodied in French Revolution and Industrial Revolution. This period of change in European society is known as the Enlightenment period. We know what is the Enlightenment period, right? It was a period of enlightenment. Enlightenment period means when people uprooted the church, when they refused to follow the rules, or when they refused to follow the church. Now they started thinking logically, they started asking the questions, they wanted the answers of their questions. right? It was an era of a French Revolution. It was an era of industrial revolution, French revolutions were going on, and it was a period of Renaissance. It was a period of enlightenment when people started thinking, thinking logically. They refused to take the concept as such and follow the church and the king, right? So there was much hue and cry in the society. There is the society, there was uphill in this society. So it was that era that sociology has been emerged because of much hue and cry in the society. The thinkers, the intellectual thought, what are the reasons for this hue and cry in the society, and how can we bring peace in the society, because everyone wants to live in the peace. What all are reasons for these changes, and how can we bring back the peace in this society? This is how sociology has been emerged. The root of ideas such as belief that both nature and society can be studied scientifically, that human beings are essential, rational, that society built on the rational principles, will human beings realize their infinite potential, can be traced in the development of science and commerce in the Europe. Because of industrial revolution, because of the French Revolution, now it is an era of scientific development. People have started thinking rationally. So intellectual thought, as we can study the physical sciences rationally, we can study the society rationally, because people think rationally. It is not difficult to study the society rationally or scientifically. We can study the society as we can study the physical sciences. The new outlook developed as a result of the commercial revolution and the scientific revolution, and crystallized during the French and the Industrial Revolution, gave birth to sociology as a discipline. French Revolution, Industrial Revolution, scientific period of enlightenment, commerce revolution, all these revolutions are responsible for the birth of sociology as a subject. There was increase in assertion of individual political rights and decrease in collective authority of the state. Now people start thinking as an individual. There was a rise of individualism and decrease in collective authority of the state. It was that era. In 1871, France was facing a political crisis and there was a decline in national unity. France worked towards the political consolidations by focusing on social progress. As much was going on in the France during that period, Durkheim believed that sociological method could provide a solution to decay in the moral order, because people started thinking as an individual. Individualism is was growing, and the individualism was growing, and that. It was going down, that is collectivity was going down. So Durkheim believed that sociological method can provide solution to decay in the moral order, because uh, there was much hue and cry in the society. Intellectual influences on Durkheim's work. Who influenced Durkheim? Social realism. Durkheim provided explanation for all phenomenon. Durkheim was a social realist, as he visualized society as sui generis and having an existence prior to individual. According to Durkheim, society is sui generis, means it developed by itself, sui generis. According to Durkheim, the social he saw according to Durkheim, or Durkheim visualized the society as sui generis and having existence prior to individual. It is not the individual who developed the society. Society is sui generic. As per the utilitarian social theory advocated by Stuart Mill and Grammy Bentham, individuals were autonomous and were not restrained by the larger social rules, but Durkheim rejected this. According to Mill and Bentham, that individuals were autonomous. They are their own and were not restrained by the social rules. But Durkheim said no, society is more important than the individuals. He rejected the idea of Mill and Bentham. Contrary to Mill and Bentham, Durkheim held that society precedes the individual, that society comes first, then the individual, right? According to him, society is more important than the individual. Society and individual are inseparable. There exists a social constraint on individual. Their actions are not strictly utilitarian. They are that society and individuals are inseparable, but there are certain social constraints on the individual, and their actions are not strictly utilitarian. He believed that human action is not based on the common motive or driven towards the self interest, but there is an external constraint that exists which leads to engage in certain actions. So according to Durkheim, it is the pressure of the society, or it is the society or some external forces, or the external constraint exists which leads this society or an individual to engage in these certain actions. Human action is not based on the common motives and driven towards self interest. According to him, it is because of the societal pressure, it is because of the some external forces or the constraints which leads to the engage in the certain actions. So society is more important than the individual according to Durkheim. This led Durkheim to write the rules of sociological method. J. Ross had an influence on Durkheim's thought on morality and society. Durkheim was influenced by the Ross belief that there is a need for a common social and moral rules that can keep the society together. See, as because of the French Revolution, Commerce Revolution, Industrial Revolution, scientific revolutions were going up, there was much uphill in the society, right? And people started thinking for themselves only. There was no social order during this period, and the intellectual wants to bring back the social orders. And sociologists or intellectuals like Durkheim, Ross, Auguste Comte believed that there is a need for common social and moral rules that keep the society together. If you want to keep the society together, then society should precede the individuals. If you want to bind, if you want a solidarity in the society, then rather than the individualistic behavior or individualism, one should prefer the society. Society should be given more importance than the individual. Durkheim did not agree with Ross' individualist theories. Ross held that the collective will draw from many individual wills, and therefore society in that sense emerges from the individual will. Durkheim, on the other hand, analyzed the morality in relation to society. Hobbes, who held that individuals contract out of nature and paid emphasis on individual. Durkheim held that constraint emerges from collective and not the individual. According to Ross, what is according to Ross? That collective will draw from many individuals' will, and therefore society is a sense emerges from the individual wills. But Durkheim said that no, morality, that Durkheim analyzed that morality in relation to this society. And Hobbes said that the individual contract out of nature and paid emphasis on the individual. Hobbes paid an emphasis on the individual, but Durkheim held that constraint emergency emerges from collectivity and not from the individual. According to Herbert Spencer, it is individual who are engaged in self-interested act. who work towards maintaining a social whole. Durkheim held that social integration is not a result of individual action, but a shared sense of solidarity that keeps the society together. Right? Herbert Spencer held that the self interest act work towards maintaining the social whole. But Durkheim said that social integration is not the result of the individual action, but it is the shared sense of solidarity. When there is a we feeling, there is a feeling of we, there is a feeling of commonness. This feeling or this sense of solidarity keeps the society together. It is not the individual actions which keeps the society together. In the book The Rules of Sociological Method, Durkheim developed the methodological framework to study the society. He held that sociology is study of social facts as suicide rate, religion, affiliation, moral rules, etc. What is social facts? Social facts exercises the constraint upon the individuals. So, as per Durkheim, sociology is study of the social facts. And what is social facts? Social facts exercises the constraints upon the individuals. The ultimate social reality is the group and not the individual. So he emphasized on the group, on the society rather than the individual. So ultimate social reality is the group, not the society, and the social fact exercises a constraint upon individual. The social fact are external and cannot be reduced to the individual fact. Okay, so from this, we can conclude that Durkheim emphasized that society or social solidarity is more important than the individuals. It is society which, it is the society which can which influences the individual actions. Social facts. Social facts exercises a constraint upon the individuals. Scientism and influence on of positivism. The term sociology was founded by Auguste Comte in 1882. Auguste Comte is known as the father of sociology. Right? Before sociology, it was named as a positive sciences. But in 1882, Auguste Comte named it as a sociology. And a sociology was founded in 1882. And in 1887, Durkheim instituted the study of sociology as an academic discipline. It is because of the efforts of the Durkheim that sociology has been established as an academic discipline in 1887. Sociology could be established as a scientific discipline only when the causal relations underlying a social activities could be studied. Right? As Durkheim said that we can study the society as we can study the physical sciences, but it is only possible that sociology can be established as a scientific discipline only when we can study the causal relationship. Karan. What is the reason behind any action? If we are able to explain the reason behind any action, then we can study the society or the sociology as we can study the physical sciences. So sociology could be established as a scientific discipline only when a causal relations underlying the social activities could be explained. What is the causal relation? What is current? When we can explain the current Siddhant of principle of any social action. Durkheim was influenced by Montesquieu's idea that science of society was concerned with exploration of the facts rather than mere speculations. Rather than speculating the fact, it is important to explore the social facts. Saint Simon contributed an idea of science of society. Comte developed a method and ranked the various sciences as positivistic and non positivistic sciences. Durkheim held that society was sui generis and could be subject to scientific investigation and could not be simply reduced to individual composing it or the individual acts. So, as we explained, that Durkheim is, according to Durkheim, the society is sui generic. It generates by itself. So it is subjected to scientific investigation. It could not be, the society could not be simply reduced to the individual actions. Durkheim was working towards establishing the status of sociology as a scientific discipline, separate and not subsumed by the philosophy. So he tried to establish the status of sociology as a scientific discipline different from the philosophy. In order to understand the evolution of society, they applied the comparative method and understand the causal relationship in simple and modern societies. So they try to compare the simple and modern societies. Functionalism. Durkheim incorporated Comte's and Spencer's organic analogy in study of society. Spencer has given an organic analogy. According to an organic analogy, that anything that this society grows from simple to a more complex form. It grows from simple to more complex form, like any of the other organism or the organ. So Durkheim incorporated the Comte's and the Spencer's organic analogy. The various parts of societies are interrelated and work together to maintain the stable whole. So it is very important if you want to maintain this solidarity in the society, or if you want to establish or maintain a stable whole of a society, the various parts of the society should be interrelated and they should work together, right? Social integration is possible as all part of society function to maintain social whole. It is only possible, social integration is only possible as this society, as the various part of the societies or the various institutions of the society functions to maintain the social whole. In simple society, the belief that sentiments have a greater constraining forces. With the growth of populations, to society become more complex and tasks are differentiated. When the simple, because he agreed with the that is Spencer's organic analogy. In simple society, people were simple. There was no division of labor as such, and in simple societies, the belief and sentiments have a greater constraining force because their beliefs are same, right? Their sentiments are same, right? Their sentiments were same. Their beliefs were same, right? And they were binded together with a feeling of we. And with the growth of the population, society become complex, or the modern society complex society. Now when the society is the complex society, when society become a complex society, the tasks are differentiated. There is a division of labor, right? The division of labor and specialization of the task entails the individual and depends upon each other. And now, in complex society, the division of labor is actually force which binds the society together because they depend on each other for their survival. Because of their dependence on each other. In simpler society, the sentiments, the beliefs were the forces which were responsible for this social integration or social solidarity. And in modern society, the division of labor is actual force which binds the society together or people together. Herbert Spencer typified society as simple and compound society, and Herbert Spencer divided this society as a simple and compound society. Various sociologists divided these societies on various bases. Division of labor in society. Now, what is division of labor in the society? This division of labor is actually responsible for the solidarity and complex modern society, right? What is division of labor? Amal Durkheim typified society on the basis of mechanical and organic solidarity. See, Herbert Spencer divided the society as a simple and a compound society, and this Emile Durkheim divided the society on the basis of solidarity, that is mechanical and organic solidarity. If question comes, who has divided the society on the basis of solidarity, it is the Durkheim who typified or who divided the society on the basis of solidarity. According to him, there are two types of solidarity: mechanical solidarity and organic solidarity. Division of labor exists in different sectors of society, and Durkheim did not limit his understanding to strictly economic exchanges. There is a division of labor in each and every field of the society, not limited to the economic exchanges only. Division of labor is a social phenomenon and merits social explanations. Durkheim held that solidarity can be expressed in two distinct ways, which are mechanical and organic solidarity. So, there are two types of solidarity: mechanical solidarity and organic solidarity. In small society with mechanical solidarity, individuals' autonomy is lowest and society is characterized by likeness of belief. So, when society is small or when society is simple, you will find a mechanical solidarity there. In mechanical solidarity or in simple society or in small society, the individual autonomy is lowest. Individual autonomy doesn't exist, doesn't matter, and the society and the in mechanical solidarity or in small society, the society is characterized by likeness of belief. Their beliefs are similar. Simpler society or the small societies are characterized by their likeness of the beliefs, that they are of same type. Their beliefs are of same types. There is no specialization of task in the simpler society and very little division of labor. Collective consciousness prevails amongst all the individual in the group. Because in smaller societies or in simpler society, there is no division of labor because everyone has a similar type of a skills. You cannot divide anyone on the basis of their skills. There is no division of labors because of a similar kinds of the skills. But it is because of the collective consciousness. It is because of the likeness of the beliefs that prevails among all the individuals in the group. They have common beliefs. There is likeness of belief. There is a collective consciousness on the basis of these beliefs, right? Right. So this type of solidarity is known as mechanical solidarity. We find mechanical solidarity in simpler or the smaller society, like in tribes, right? We cannot divide this society on the basis of the division of labor, because they possesses a similar type of labor, similar type of skills, I'm sorry, similar types of the skills. But it is because of their likeness of beliefs, or they have common beliefs, that binds these beliefs bind together, and this is known as mechanical solidarity. There is no division of labor, and mechanical solidarity is basically found in simpler societies, right? Division of labor. In such society, the institution of religion is dominant, and an individual's place in society is determined by the kinship. There is a system of penal law which punishes crimes violently so as to reaffirm the core beliefs and values. This law is repressive and severely punishes the offense. See, in simpler society where there is no division of labor, right? The institution of religion dominates the society. Religion has a special place in simpler society where there is no division of labor, and there is individual's place in society is determined by the kinship, and it is based on the kinship system. There is a system of penal law and which punishes the individual violently, so that it is why they why they punish the individual violently, so that they can reaffirm to the core beliefs. They should not think to go away from their core beliefs, that to make sure that they should reaffirm to the core belief. There is a system of penal law, and the law is repressive and severely punishes the offense. So what type of law is there in simpler society? It was a repressive law. It severely punishes the offenses. The individuals are more dependent on one another for specialized function, and this leads to the social cohesion and increased in individual autonomy. No. Okay. Restitutive law is operative in primitive society and aims at restoring the wrong to their original state. So repressive type of penal was there. There was a law of repression, and restitutive law is operative in primitive society. Why there was an restitutive law that aims to restore the wrong to the original position. Durkheim held that in society there are social facts that exercised a constraint on the social individual. It was the social facts. Social facts are the rules of the society that helps this society, that helps or exercise the constraint on the individual. Durkheim wrote a rules of sociological method because he wanted to develop a framework for methodological investigation for subject of method of sociology, so that everyone should know how to study this society in a scientific way, right? Is this clear? And another type of society is, when it there was another type of a society is the organic type of a society. In the modern society is known as organic solidarity type of the society. In modern society, we find an organic solidarity type of a society. In organic solidarity, people dependent, because there is a division of labor. Everyone has a different skill set, and because of the difference in the skill set, uh, there is a division of labor, and because and to and every each and every individual depends on other, right, for their survival, because the skill set is different. They are dependent on each other, and this dependence on each other is responsible for the solidarity in the society, and this is known as the organic solidarity, right? Organic solidarity is, there is a division of labor and people depend on each other, because of division of labor, because everyone needs each other. This is organic solidarity. And mechanical solidarity, there is no division of labor. People are binded together, or they are united together because of commonness in their beliefs. What are social facts? Social facts are nothing but the things in the society. Things in the society is known as social fact. Durkheim held that sociology as a scientific discipline should deal with the social facts. We should deal with the as a scientific, if you want to study this society, if you want to study this society scientifically, then you should deal with the social fact. And what is the social fact? Social facts are things in the society. They held that just as the natural facts, social facts will be external. This means that they will have an independent, these social facts have an independent existence regardless of the belief of opinion that we may have about them. Whatever we think about the social facts, but they have independent existence. Social facts are the things in the society, right? We can study the social facts as we can study the natural facts. Social facts are external. They have independent existence regardless of the belief or opinion what we may think about them, right? Social facts have existence outside the individual consciousness and have objective existence prior to an individual's birth. Therefore, they have an external existence and passed on from generation to generation. The social facts are independent, right? The social facts are external and independent. The existence of social facts are outside the individual's consciousness, right? In the rule of sociological method, Durkheim employed an organic analogy to the study of society and developed the criteria to distinguish between healthy and unhealthy society. So he applied the organic analogy, that is from simple to right. He applied that organic analogy and tried to study the society and developed a criteria to distinguish between the healthy society and unhealthy society. According to Durkheim, social phenomenon is said to be normal when it is generally distributed throughout the society and also occurs in other society under general conditions. Social phenomenon is said to be the pathological if it deviates from the phenomenon that generally diffused in the society. So, are you understanding this? According to Durkheim, social phenomenon is that which has been accepted by the majority in this society, and these phenomenon also occurs in the also exist in other societies under general conditions, right? So according to Durkheim, phenomenon is said to be normal if some phenomenon is happening or going on in this society, that is said to be the normal if when it is generally distributed throughout the society. Generally distributed throughout the society means, in other words, when the majority of people accepts that, when majority of people in the society accepts that phenomenon, that it shows that it is generally distributed in the society, right, and occurs in other society under general condition. And when you find these conditions or these phenomenon and in other societies too, then that phenomenon is known as the a normal phenomenon according to Durkheim. And social phenomenon are said to be the pathological phenomenon if it deviates from the phenomenon that is generally diffused in the society. When there are very few takers for any phenomenon, or when very few believers of the phenomenon, when or in other words, when I can say when the majority rejects any of the phenomenon, then that phenomenon is known as the pathological phenomenon. So, what is pathological phenomenon and the normal phenomenon? Normal phenomenon is what? Normal phenomenon is when majority accepts that accepts a phenomenon, then that and that phenomenon is found in more than one society. And pathological phenomenon is when majority rejects any of the phenomenon, but when it deviates from the phenomenon that is generally diffused in this society, right? Suicide. Durkheim held that suicide could not be explained by individual or these psychological factors, but should be explained by analyzing the link between the social institution and individual. So, according to Durkheim, suicide is not an individual action. You cannot explain this suicide on the basis of the individual or the psychological phenomenon, but should be explained by analyzing the link between the social institution and individual. There is a link between the social institution and the individual which is responsible for the suicide. He held that the rate of suicide in society is related to other sociological institutions like marriage, family, religious institution. He therefore studied suicide collectively rather than the individually. So, according to Durkheim, that it is not the individual who is responsible for this suicide. There are phenomenon, institutions, social institutions like family, religion, marriage. All these institutions are related to suicide. Suicide is related to these social institutions. So he studied the suicide collectively rather than individually. There is a, according to him, there is a relationship between the suicide and other social institutions. Durkheim explained various forms of suicide by looking at how individuals are able to develop bonds in this society and how individuals are regulated by the society. According to Durkheim, it is the society, it is the relationship between the individual and society which is responsible for the suicide. So he explained the various forms of suicide on the basis of a relationship of an individual by the individual with the society. Right? He described the egoistic and altruistic suicide by referring to the level of social integration of individual. So he explained one type is egoistic type of suicide and altruistic type of the suicide that refers to the level of social integration of the individual, how individual is integrated with the society, the relationship of an individual with the society. He examined the anomic and fatalistic suicide by referring to the level of social regulation of individual. Another two type is anomic and fatalistic, that is on the basis of the social regulation. So, according to Durkheim, there are two facts. That is, first is the integration of an individual is this of an individual with the society, and the other thing is that is regulations by the society. These two are responsible, these two facts are responsible for the suicide. So he described egoistic and altruistic suicide type as social integration of an individual, and then under social regulation of the individual, he described anomic and fatalistic type of the suicide. Egoistic suicide results from the absence of the social bond and loosening the attachment of an individual to the group of the society. When there is no attachment of an individual to the society, that type of suicide has been described as an egoistic suicide. Altruistic suicide is in which individuals are excessively integrated with the society and give up their life for this society. That is altruistic type of the society, when someone gives the life for the society, when there is a great attachment of an individual with the society. That type of society is known as the altruistic society. When someone commits suicide because of the family or because of the certain relationships to protect them, that type of suicide is known as altruistic society. And egoistic society, when there is no bond between the individual and the group and the society. Anomic suicide is that is on the basis of restrictions. Anomic suicide which occur when there is a weakening of social regulation. In time of economic prosperity or hardship, there may be an increase in level of anomic suicide. When there are some financial burdens or financial constraint, when people give up their life, that type of suicide is known as anomic suicide. This is because of loosening of the social regulation. And fatalistic suicide when occurs when individuals are excessively regulated by the society. Right? Durkheim explained this type of suicide by referring to the case of suicide by the slaves. This is fatalistic suicide when individuals are excessively regulated, when you feel suffocated because of the excessive regulation of the society. This is known as the fatalistic society. Right? So suicide, he explained that it is not because of the individual, it is not individualistic reason that someone commits the suicide. According to him, there is a society, the institutions of this society are somehow responsible for these suicide. So he divided the suicide into two categories. The first is on the basis of the attachment with the society, and other is on the basis of the that is regulation. So social regulation, that is attachment, and because of the social regulation, on the that then further he divided that on the basis of that. Attachment with the society, there are he described the two types of suicide: egoistic suicide and altruistic suicide. Egoistic suicide is that suicide when there is no attachment of an individual with the society, and altruistic suicide is when there is much attachment with you. An individual is excessively integrated with the society or much attached with the society. And on the basis of the regulation, social regulation, again he described two types of the suicide, that is anomic suicide and fatalistic suicide. Anomic suicide is because of loosening of the social regulations, right? Anomic suicide. And fatalistic suicide is because of the excessive regulation by the society on the individual, is known as the fatalistic suicide. Then collective consciousness. What is collective consciousness? Collective to what is according to Durkheim, the body of belief, practices, and common sentiment that holds throughout the society together, it gives a purpose and structure to the social life. And collective consensus is characterized by likeness of moral and mental sentiment. The collective consensus is different from the individual consensus. It is diffused throughout the society. The collective conscience has maintaining a social solidarity and also connecting different generation together. What is collective consensus? When it is on the basis of beliefs and the moral values, and it has been passed from generation to generation. Collective conscience is different from the individual consensus, right? Okay. Then religion and manifestation of social life. The elementary form of religious life was published in 1912. He propounded a scientific study of religion based on observation and exploration. He studied about division of labor, about this suicide, and now he has now this he studied about the religion. He studied the religion in a scientific manner, right? Durkheim religion for Durkheim, a religion helped people to make sense of the world, and religion personifies this society. He held that religion is made up of beliefs and rituals. According to him, religion plays an important role in an individual's life. Belief for Durkheim were ideas that were focused towards the sacred, and rituals on the word actions were directed towards the sacred. He held that universally the religious worldview is divided into two domains, the sacred and profane. A thing, belief, or act is sacred because it is believed to be sacred by the society. So, according to Durkheim, the religion is based on that two ideas, that is on the basis on the idea of sacred and the profane. Sacred, any action, anything which is considered to be sacred or pure is of vital importance, and another is profane. Profane is which is impure, right? According to him, the religious worldview is divided into two, that is sacred and profane, that is pure and impure, right? And a thing is believed to be sacred or pure because it is believed to be sacred by the society, right? And a profane and profane is because it has been believed by the society that that thing is impure or a profane. We'll discuss about the social facts in detail in our next lecture. That's all for today. Thank you very much. Namaskar.